What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's the Hana podcast with little old me, Willie Paul, sitting down with Pastor Owen. How's everything going? It's been a while since you've been on, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while. So
Yeah,
you had Ashley and Onani. That's good. That's cool.
yeah, it's really cool. Really cool to be able to hear some stories, just of other people, what's going on in the lives of people at Metro.
Yeah, you mean like fresh material?
Fresh material, shake it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but it's good. I'm glad to be sitting down with you today, Pastor Owen. Always thankful for the time and the wisdom because you've got a lot, and like I can't even tell you what number podcast this is that you and I have done.
A
uh
lot.
a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels like every week there's like something new that like you get to share. It's good. So I know that even though we've been doing this for a while, there's still a lot going on. But while we're talking about it, um, hey, the podcast is going to be taking a little bit of a break, a little bit of a hiatus over summer. So from June, we're going to break through June, July, and then pick it back up in August. New revamp. We've got a lot of cool ideas. We've got a busy summer coming up, so we're just going to take a little break. And yeah, so we'll probably put out one or two things here and there, but it's not going to be like an every week kind of episodic thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to see what the new format's going to look like.
Yeah, super, super excited for it. I think it's going to be like, I think it's going to be really good, fresh.
Yeah, I have an idea. The gospel according to golf. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, you want to? Okay.
Do something on the golf course.
Here's a this is a real life. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, we did not talk about this at all. This is me, Pastor Owen, just brainstorming live. We've got a microphone and you got a phone. Do you want to just like record podcast episodes in between, like on the golf cart?
I'm seriously, there's a ton of lessons that I'm learning and I can apply. And even, kind of, I don't know if this segues into this weekend's message, but talked about the law of diminishing, returns. So I went out and I hit some balls today. I came home and I said to my wife, I'm experiencing the law of diminishing returns. It's not making sense. The more I go out, the worse I get.
Ooh. That is a good segue, because that is what we're talking about, law of diminishing returns. There's like this thing. Have you ever heard of the Pomodoro method?
What is that?
It's like this study or like practice thing where you set a timer for like 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And so you study for 20 minutes and then you take like a 5-minute break and then study. And then it's like off and on. But apparently it's supposed to help because like if you just do something for so long, like eventually your brain just turns to mush and you can't like absorb new information.
Yeah, I think your muscles work in the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
You try to build muscle memory, but it has to be the right way, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're building the wrong memory. But you go, and then fatigue sets in because you're overusing it. And then you just get more frustrated and it gets worse. I had that in, even with volleyball. I mean, you practice intensely, but when you take a break, it really helps. You come back refreshed. You come back seeing things a little differently. I think surfing is the same way. You can surf, but you take a little bit of break in between. And I guess you want to call it, we can put the spiritual part on this. You take that Sabbath rest. That really helps to rejuvenate and re-energize and recalibrate, where you should be going. So yeah, so I got to take a break from golf.
Yeah, so you went to the driving range? How long were you there?
Okay. I'm going to admit this because I know our viewership isn't that great with the podcast. I can admit this.
It's decent, all right? It's okay.
I had a senior moment today. This guy said, yeah, let's go golf. I said, sure. Texted back and forth. Okay, meet you there. And I confirmed it on Sunday. Yeah, what time should I be there? I show up today and nobody's there. I
Uh,
was all ready. In fact, I went to the driving range yesterday to try and get loose and anticipating a good competitive round today. I show up, nobody's there. I'm waiting. And I'm thinking, no, I don't want to embarrass this guy, text him, I know, and his wife is going to get upset. So I check my text again. I'm there on the wrong day. It's actually 2 days from now. So I'm already dressed. I might as well do something. So I went to the course, Bayview, and they're not busy. I can just walk on.
Nice.
Yeah. So I hit nine holes today. Felt like 18.
Yeah.
Did 9 holes. Yeah. But
what are you averaging right now? What's your score?
I'm on the diminishing return curve. So yeah.
So I won't. You don't have to say.
Yeah, let's talk about something else.
So anyway, donuts. No, but we talked about like law of diminishing returns. When you work so hard for a certain amount of time, you're just like, you can't process it anymore. You can't keep working. And so it's good to, as you said, take that like Sabbath, that time of rest, rejuvenation.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to word it as well as they did. It was this pastor, I believe it was AJ Swoboda. He has this book on Sabbath and everything's really good. And it was basically like either you take a Sabbath or the Sabbath takes you. Where either you set a schedule, set a rhythm where you're resting, doing something that fills you, or you burn out and you crash basically. Instead of like refueling and going, you go for as long as you can and you crash and you're out for like way longer than you need to be.
Yeah. And many times that happens because we're not organized. I want to say that not in a time management sense, but just in a sense of our life not being orderly, where we have the priorities set correctly. And when that happens, we tend to default to allowing everything else to control us because we don't have control over the things that's going on within us. And so things becomes just a matter of, and local style would say, whatever is kind of a approach to life. And then we think, oh, how come I'm so tired? I'm doing all of these things because we haven't taken the time to discipline ourselves to prioritize and reset. And Sabbath helps you to do that. So Sabbath isn't just sitting back and doing nothing. It's really reflecting, on what God has for you, what He's called you to do, the priorities that you should be looking at. And so if we just keep going, it's almost like, I don't know if anybody can relate to this. It's like you take things, you open the trunk of your car and you just throw it in there and say, I'll get to it later. And the next time you throw it in there and I'll get to it later. And pretty soon it's such a mess. Well, what's another thing I throw in there? It's not going to matter. And then now your life is just taking the turn, And now, well, why don't you organize your trunk? Oh, it's too much work. And that's how your life has been defined. You've allowed the circumstances to define you versus you taking that discipline to define your life. So.
Yeah, and it's a tough one. Our entire culture is set up to avoid Sabbath. I think of like the dumb. I don't want to watch what I say. I want to watch my words, but like. I'm on Instagram and like the explore page and stuff, and there's some like entrepreneur, like hustle culture pages and accounts and stuff. And it's like, oh, you're sleeping? Pathetic. You should be working on your third side hustle.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, dude, you're like, it's this glorification of exhaustion, this glorification of like people always brag, oh, I only got like 3 hours of sleep last night because I was going so hard. And it's like, oh, cool, but like that's deeply unhealthy. Like you're gonna be paying for this down the road, I don't know.
And the world, as the world goes on, oh, it's so subtle how these little things that you latch onto, and then it leads to another one and another one and another one. Whatever that is. And I'm gonna go back to golf because I'm
It's just life right now.
okay. Here's another admission I gotta make. Um, the 11 o'clock service, I was tired,
Mm.
and I really feel bad for those who attended the 11 because I was really tired. And I made a point in the message about, something's got to change. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, something's got to change for me because I'm tired. And what has to change is looking at golf videos late at night.
Staying up.
Yes.
No way. Are you for real?
So Saturday night, I know I should sleep early. So I get into bed and I say, okay, just one. I'm just going to watch one. Here's this area that I'm struggling with. So I watched this one, and it's like 10 minutes. So I watch this one, and the next one pops up.
Autoplay, man. Oh.
Have you been having trouble with this? Oh, yeah, I've been having trouble with that. Have you been having trouble with this? Oh, yeah, I've been having trouble. I go from one to the next. And so when I came home on Sunday, I said, and I said this to Joy, I said, I got to change. I got to get in bed. If I'm going to watch a little, I need to get in bed earlier because I get in bed late and then I watch this and it's even later. But it's so subtle because it catches that one thing that your attention gets drawn to.
Slippery slope.
Yeah, it's not something major. It's a slippery slope. You take one step and the next and the next and the next. Pretty soon you're done. And you can apply that to anything, that catches your eye.
So. Yeah. Man, it's so prevalent, especially with phones, because they are literally designed to addict us. Like they have, there are people who design these things who are like trying to create boards of like smartphone ethics, and app ethics because they feel bad. They're guilty because they're like, we made this way too well. Yeah. And like it plays for all of our like dopamine reactors and all of that, where it's just like everything is built to keep you attached to this. And man, it's just so brutal because like you feel like you can't stop,
Yeah. And that's where the discipline, self-control, all the fruits of the spirit, everything the Bible talks about.
If I could give if you take one thing away from this listener, watcher, whatever, it would be go on Amazon or go to the store and buy like a $3 alarm clock and leave your phone outside of your room when you sleep. It'll change your life. It'll change your life.
That's the thing. Because the excuse I give is I use my phone as my clock.
Yep.
But that's the problem. If the phone is not in my reach, then I can't use it. I'll just go back to my normal life.
So that's my one piece of advice. But Sabbath is actually that like before I had a kid and all the days blurred into each other and there's no such thing as like I don't want to say there's no such thing as rest because we're getting good rest, but it's not like we take a day off, and do what we want. I was reading a lot of stuff like John Mark Comer has a book called Ruthless Elimination of Hurry that talks about like what you talked about, where if the devil can't get us, he'll make us busy.
He can't make us bad, he'll make us busy.
He can't make us bad, he'll make us busy. How like we're all addicted to our smartphones and how like the Sabbath is kind of the cure for that and like building these rhythms into our lives. But Pastor Owen, I know that you're like a type A go-getter. If you hit a wall, you're running through it kind of person. So how do you, when you take a step back and you realize, oh no, I've filled my entire schedule with good things, admittedly good things, but it's kind of overburdened right now. How do you cut back to carve out these times?
Yeah, that's a tough one, especially if your personality, you're wired in that direction. Um, what you really need, either you need guys around you, maybe it's a both and, not either or, but you need guys around you that can help you to see that, and even to be good examples for you to see what they're doing and to see that, oh, if they're doing it like that, that's a good idea. I should do that. Um, um, or you need in the discipline of preparing to go through a wall, you also need the discipline to stop and say, and I asked the question at the end of the message. I said, you got to ask the and then what question. And then what? Because that stops you and it helps you to say, okay, so is this really what I want to do?
Mm.
It realigns and hopefully it prioritizes in the right way. I'll give you two examples. One is, okay, so forgive me if I talk about golf, but there's a ton of lessons I'm learning. So golf can really catch you. It can get you obsessed. You can be constantly doing these things. And especially if you have a guy that says, hey, let's go golf or let's go to the driving range. No, oh, shoot, I'll go. But when you hear them say, I can't go this time because I need to really spend time with my wife, stops me. And I go, okay, so what am I doing? Am I spending enough time with my wife?
Mm.
You have somebody you respect that's in your circle that you admire and you give a lot of value to how they live their lives. And you learn from that. So it's learning through vicariously through them and watching their relationship. The other is to have that sense within you, and you say, "Man, should I do this or not?" The and then what question really helps. Going through this season right now, and again, these are some things that are very transparent, open. I spoke at this event to help encourage and inspire candidates running for office.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Not you, right?
And so they asked me to speak and encourage, motivate them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I did, and got a standing ovation when I stepped off the podium, and people are coming up to me, and these are former candidates. These are guys that have been running before, and there's a lot of new guys, and they're telling me, "Hey, we need you. You need to step in there. We need your voice, etc., and all that stuff." And so one day I'm going walking with Joy, and I said, "Okay, well, let's just for discussion, all right? Since we're walking, we need to talk about something. Okay, so here's something to consider." Sometimes I feel as a pastor on the podium, I have to be careful about how I say things because we represent everybody. And sometimes it gets a little, oh, okay. And I have to defer to the pastoral mantle that's on my shoulders. And I'm not an R, I'm not a D, but on the legislative floor, I represent the party and I represent this position. And so I can freely say what I want to say. And she says, "Okay, and then what?" I said, "Okay, well, we need that voice, because when you look at how the election is going this year, the Republican representing the Republican viewpoint and party is getting less and less and less in Hawaii." She goes, "Yeah, okay, but you say all that thing, and then what?" I said, "Well, you got to say something." She goes, "Well, you want to say something or you want to do something? Isn't it better that you do things versus say things? Because if you're just a minor part of the whole body, what are you going to get done? You can say all you want, but what are you going to get done?" Now, that makes sense. And so how do I stop myself from just plowing through the wall? You have to have people around you that can ask you that question. And then what? And it's an innocent question. It's not trying to corner me in any place at all, but think about it. What is the main thing? Yeah. So, as a pastor, although I'm so-called retired or the founding pastor, my heart is still to see the kingdom built, and that action is placed to faith, and not just have somebody who can preach the word, but we got to do something. So I think I can do more in the role that I play here versus being on a floor of a legislature saying something. But that question really helps you to stop, even though you're a type A kind of guy. You got to stop and throw it out a few yards.
Mm.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, we're human, and so like especially on this podcast because we try to keep this like off the cuff. But sometimes like we try our best to be sensitive to all things, but sometimes we slip up and say something dumb. So thank you for your grace and like understanding that we're not doing it out of like malice or spite or to hurt anyone. So if we say something that's like wrong, yeah, we don't do it out of stuff, and we're doing our best, but we're humans. But
and let me say a little bit more so that it's not taken out of context what I just shared.
yeah.
Politics is important. We need good people in political office. I mean, it's you just cannot have the society we have without good people in political office. But you have to follow the calling that God has placed on your heart. And so I just feel that, when I ran the last time, I believe that the Lord was pushing me in that direction. I think in the season that I'm in now, I want to be effective for God. And I think the most effective area for me right now in this season of my life is what I'm doing with what I'm doing. So.
And politics is not religion. Politics isn't the end all be all.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It's all chill.
Yeah.
We disagree on things. We're still friends.
But what is God calling you to do?
Yeah.
You're at in the season of your life. What is that race He's asked you to run? And when you know what that is, you run hard. You run hard at it.
Yeah, but putting in those breaks, putting in those moments to rest, to ask yourself, what if? Because I feel like having those, whether it's weekly, preferably weekly, that's the rhythm of Sabbath through Scripture, or like monthly retreats, like you just take a whole day or like a few days to go, but asking that question of like, okay, then what?
Yeah.
So that you can kind of course correct on smaller things, as opposed to you don't question what you're doing, you just go for like a year, and then you're like, oh, wait a second, I actually kind of want to be over there, and now I'm way further than I needed to be.
Yeah, because then, a year later, you look around, you got blood all over you, and you're going, what happened? Well, you just ran into the wall back there. You didn't even know it, You weren't supposed to go through the wall.
Yeah, it's like that wall was there as like to help you, but you just kept running until you went through it.
Yeah.
A great way to get people around you that'll ask you that question that you can look towards is connect groups. We have great connect groups here at Metro. You can head over to our website. Then we have a connect group finder where you can like find the right days and times and group that work for you. So it's super easy. We'd love for you to be plugged in. We believe that growth really happens in community, and having those people around you is huge to your spiritual development. So head over to our website, metrochristianchurch.com, and find the connect groups. Okay, besides golf, because I know that golf is like the one thing. What do you do? Like, what does contentment, what does like peak relaxed pastor Owen look like?
It varies depending on how I feel that day. Some days it's binging on a series that we're watching on TV. That's nice, just to have Joy next to me, and it's nice that we enjoy the same kind of show. There's some that she likes and that I don't care for and whatever, but there's a few that we have locked on together, and it's nice that we can just sit there. Or it's going out for a walk, being in the outdoors, nice walk outside. And then there are times where food, of course, a nice, good, comfortable setting. Food is good, service is good. Some places have changed. We've gone to some places we liked before, and it's not quite the same for whatever reason. But it's discovering some places that, oh, this is good. This is really nice. Yeah. To me, that's contentment.
Right on. That's really nice. Okay. Let's say I'm thinking of Kyle right now. Kyle is a member of our church who's a young lawyer, and he's working like 100-hour weeks. If you could give one practice to someone who's listening, who's like stressed out, maybe they haven't taken a day off in a long time, there's just so much for them to do. If you could give like one practice, one practical thing to do this week, what would it be?
I'd say find a mentor. Seek someone out that's willing to commit time to you. It doesn't have to be every week, but someone that you can at least live out this season of your life with. It's not a lifetime thing, but in that season of time, the mentor is there, not as someone who you're going to depend on to keep checking on you, but who you can call at any time and say, hey, can we have coffee? And the guy is there. He's there. That I think would be the best thing you can do. I wish I had that when I was younger. It would have saved me a lot of trouble that I got in. But then again, I learned a lot of tough lessons, from the many, many mistakes I've made. But to have someone like that with you, I think is the richest thing you can have.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And we're working on something. It's not for public knowledge yet. We're talking through some ways that we can help with that at Metro. To have young ones find someone who's older, made more mistakes. But there's so much that we can learn from one another. So it's not just the old guy being always a sage and giving advice, but even teaching old guys like us, how to see how the world has been changing and evolving. So
yeah, it's kind of like it's a two-way street.
Yeah, symbiotic.
Yeah. Symbiote. I've been watching a lot of Spider-Man lately. A lot of Spider-Man content. Anyway, because I don't golf. I don't play sports. That's all I do. But anyway, Pastor Owen, genuinely appreciate just the time that you sit down, the stories that you share, and all that stuff, and because you've lived a life,
Yeah. I don't feel that old, but I'm getting old. You're getting much older.
And you're not even that old. You just got a lot of cool stories, a lot of cool experiences.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate it coming from a young guy.
Thanks, Willie. Always here. Always here.
So head over to our website, register for New Believers class. Some other stuff coming up. A lot of cool things for the youth during summer. But we'll hear about that on Sundays and stuff. So all right, Pastor Owen. Thanks.
Plug for you. I saw your schedule for the youth. Looks awesome.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Dude, I'm so stoked.
Yeah.
I talked about it at a live. Don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
But it's going to be big. It's going to be real big.
I really like it. So good job.
Yeah. Thank you. Very stoked about it. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Shoots.